Hey everyone, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make this really cool Kiwi card. So to start, I did use a mask that is unfortunately currently retired, but maybe you have this group of masks. We have lots of masks. They usually come in 4-packs. Lots of different patterns that we could use, but I chose this one. It is dots, so my apologies to the fact that this was after the fact out of stock. But we're going to do this with a little masking. You see we have a little tear here. We're going to use 2 ink colors, Lemon Lime Twist and Shaded Spruce, along with black. The black will highlight the kiwis. And if you notice here, I did put a black panel on this one. It's not how I intended, but when I stamped it, it turned out kind of screwy, so I ended up having to cover it up. So just so you know, you can always cover something up if you have to. So just keep that in mind. So to begin, I'm going to get out a piece of cardstock. So I have... I believe this is Lemon Lime Twist. I wonder if this is, yeah, Lemon Lime Twist is the base. And then I have a piece of white. I believe this is 3 3/4 by 5. 5 1/4. 5 1/4 by 3 3/4. So this is going to be the piece we're going to be masking and doing our dots on. And then I have 2 little strips. This paper, I want to tell you what it's called because it's one that is a carryover paper. Oh, I don't even know if I don't know the name of it, but it does have like a texture to it. So it comes, I made this before with a wave card. So it comes with balmy blue, there's shaded spruce, and then there's also like a an iridescent kind of pearlescent-ish white. So they're really cool, and you really don't need a lot of it. I just wanted something that brought a little bit more of the spruce into the back of the card. So I just have these 2 little strips. So we're going to glue these onto the back. It kind of gives it that larger... my card get to it. It gives you that larger feeling of the card. So if you want to use a bigger piece, you can. It's up to you. You could also lay these, if you didn't want to line it up to the back of the card, what you could do is you could lay them onto your card and glue them down first. The only thing, if you do that, sometimes you might have a little bit of a difficult time lining this up on top of them. So I find that it's a little bit easier. Maybe you put a little strip of Stampin' Seal Plus on the back and then hook them. However, if you wanted to be even more particular, if you use liquid glue, it kind of gives you that wiggle room. So whatever way you find is best, but I'm going to show you how I do it when we get there. And for this, you're going to need a little bit of masking paper. So I'm going to just reuse what I had before and I'll show you. So this is just some masking paper. The nice part about masking paper is you can use it over again. You don't necessarily have to, but you can. So we're going to just take this, kind of trying to get it slightly straight-ish, and we're going to just pick a spot and kind of line it up. Looks pretty good there. And actually when I'm doing this, I realize I'm doing it upside down, but that's okay because you could do this card either way with the skinny on the bottom or the skinny on the top. Just like so. The most important part of this is you want to make sure that your edges right here, because that's where you're going to be blending, that they are pressed down. This part on on the back end here doesn't really matter quite as much, but you want to just make sure, just take a minute and press it down. And the other thing about this is it's going to help, since it's a little bit bigger, it'll just hold them into place. So we have that. I do apologize. I have bronchitis, so that's massively annoying. I'm just using a piece of Post-it note tape to tape my mask down, and then we can see the dots here in the middle. So we're going to start with the lighter, which is Lemon Lime Twist, and I'm just going to grab a greenish one. So I'm going to just make sure this is, nope, looks pretty good. So I'm going to grab a little bit of Lemon Lime Twist and just kind of concentrate in the center. Doesn't really have to be anything particular. One cool thing about this, since I do have that bottom piece taped down, is you can actually lift this one up and just see. I just kind of tend to hold it. Make sure you like what it looks like. I think that's plenty. And then since we are going from one green to another green, we're just going to grab Shaded Spruce, same brush. Oh, and see this, I just realized I just moved it just a hair. So you want to make sure when you do move it, if you notice that there's a little shadow, keep it lined up. So, oh, you know why I'm looking at old stuff? That's why I lined it up right. I was looking at this up here, which we're in the center now, Rach. Get with the program. All right, so same thing again, Shaded Spruce. And I just tap this off just to make sure I don't really get a super hard edge. And I'm going to kind of just go around. I don't really want it to be even across any one particular area. So, oh, the dog is utterly bored by this, whatever it is I'm talking about. I think that's probably pretty good. So I'm going to close that up. I'm going to lift up my tape. Yeah, that looks cool. So we have a lot of different stuff in there. Okay, now the other thing I did, and you could do this 2 different ways. It just depends on what it is you want to do. First off, you want to make sure you clean this. So you take this to the sink, rinse it, make sure you get all the green ink off of it, because if you do multiple cards or you go to a different color, it'll ruin your card. So what you can do is you can remove this if you wanted to, but I kind of liked it better with the masking of the pieces. So I just used the outlines from the Kiwi. So let me show you what I did. So we have our large Kiwi, and then it should fit, and then our sliced Kiwi. And then we're just going to take our Memento Tuxedo Black ink. I did do the large one first because I wanted to make sure I got the bigger one filled out. Okay, 1. And then I just added the 2 slices, kind of wherever you want. Looks pretty good. Cap this, put all these things out of the way. All right, and we do, oh, you know what? We do need the black because I still need to put the sentiment on there. That's the only other thing I forgot about. And I'm going to just do the happy birthday. If this will fit on here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try for lining this up straight to just pick up my stamp a way I don't normally pick it up. But that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to lift this off. And very gently, just going to pull away at your mask. And if you pull, so you grab your end and you pull away, you shouldn't have any issues with anything tearing or ripping. Okay, and I'm going to just put this back on the back here because knowing me, I probably will use it again. And I get a little ditzel there. Okay, and then same thing again, just pulling away. Sometimes if you kind of pull to a little angle, it makes it a little better as well. Okay, and once again, I'm just going to pop this on the back. Okay, so then we have, again, our larger end. So everyone's going to look different, which I think is kind of nice because nothing is ever going to look the same. I'm going to do my best to kind of line this up here. I'm going to grab a little piece of Post-it tape just to hold this in place. Okay, and I'm going to just do happy birthday. I'm going to try not to make it crooked. Let's see what this looks like. We're going to stamp over here. That looks very nice. Okay, and I got a good refilled inking here. So let's see if we can get this without it being crooked. If you have your Stamparatus, this would be a great time to use it. Okay, that looks good. All right, and I'm going to just move these off to the side. Done with our Post-it tape. Okay, so here comes the part that probably would be the most challenging if you've not done it before. It's not truly that difficult. I guess I'm making it sound a little more difficult than it is. But what you're going to do is you're going to take and flip this over. And if you have a glue with a really fine tip, this is the best time to use it. So you're going to just take your glue and you're going to put it right along the edge. Another thing that will come in super handy if you have it, just so it doesn't goop everything up, is your silicone mat. And I'm going to just take up my strip, do my very best at lining it up. I went a little low on my glue here, so. Might be, and these pieces, I was going to say, I think they were a little long, but I think it was just off-centered. So there's one. And then same. Oops. Here. You don't want it too gluey. It will dry clear, but you don't want it gooping all over the place if you can help it. And this is off just a smidge too. And I'm going to lift that. Yeah, this is a little goopy, but again, it will dry clear, so don't have to worry about that part. I have a little bit of a smudge down here, just a little bit of a glue smudge. So I'm going to tell you 2 things you can do. There is an eraser that Tombow sells. It's a regular and sand eraser. You have to wait until it's dry. If you have just adhesive, sometimes you can just erase it with this part. If you're trying to get something off that's really difficult, this is a sand eraser, but you have to be a little bit careful because it will erase all the way through to your, a hole in your card, which is not good for anybody. Nobody wants a hole in their card. So just as a FYI, I'm gonna put some glue here, glue over the whole thing, because they're a little bit slightly different in their levels, but they'll still stick just fine. Okay. And I'm just going to pop this on, and then I will see if that's dry enough that we can erase. And if not, you know, it is a homemade card, so it's not Hallmark. We didn't mass produce this bad boy. There's going to be a little bit of homegrown everything in this. Let me just crease this once more. I think it looks really nice, so I'm just going to give this just a little. I'm going to do the regular eraser first. Let me just make sure it's started. Let's try. Nope, it's going to just have a little teeny smudgy smudge there. Might be okay. Once it dries, you may not notice it quite as much. So that, or if you felt like you had to cover it up, you could always add some kind of little, like a splat or something to it before you adhere it to your base card. But pretty simple, I think. Card, I think you could also really do a fun card with this with the raspberries if you wanted to. And so if you needed to, you could even add some of the splatter here. You could just do a little splatter stamp a couple places. So you would have your really nice, neat part here masked, and then you could have some splatters. But I guess that would kind of defeat the purpose of masking. But if you needed to, you know, sometimes we have to pull all those things out of our back pocket sometimes to save a card, just in case we have to. So I thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've learned some sort of a new technique or something from this video that I did today. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in my YouTube comment section below. If you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe, turn on the bell for notifications, and while you're at it, invite a friend. I'm sure somebody out there would love to see this video on how to make a cute Kiwi card. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.